Hello, good evening friends. Today I am going to explain one problem based on solution. That is a very easy problem based on the limiting reagent also, and that is asked by my one student from Pondicherry. So let us solve this problem. What the problem is, Kmno4 react with Ki. Okay, so we are starting the question also. Okay, the same time we are reading, and that whatever information we can interpret, that we will write also. So Kmno4 is there, Kmno4 in this here they are saying that is Kmno4 react with what student, they are reacting with Ki in basic medium. Okay, it is reacting in the basic medium to form i2 and mno2. So when it is reacting with Ki, it is forming what is i2 plus mno2. This is the question in basic medium. When 250 ml of 0.1 molar Ki, so here they are saying student the molarity is 0.1 molar. Okay, and how much volume they have given student, 250 ml. Okay, now what they are saying, solution, mix with 250 ml of 0.02 molar KmNO4. So KmNO4 they are saying student how much, 0.02 molar, and that is volume they are giving how much student, 250. Here is also 250 ml. Now student, if you are going to understand this problem, okay, so what we will interpret from this question, student, what we can interpret from this question, mix to 0 point in basic medium, what is the number of moles of I2 form? Okay, so if these many moles are getting react, so how many I2 will form? Okay, so first of all we have to write the valence equation. So valence equation, student, if you talk about here is, if you are adding 2 mole of KMNO4 and it is reacting with 6 mole of I2 Ki, then how many moles of I2 will form? 3 mole of I2, and what is other 2 mole of MnO2 plus 4 K2O, plus 4 moles of K2O will form. This is not so important. There is what is important here. So dear student, that is molarity is equal to what we write, student, n number of mole upon volume in what, student, liter. Okay, so n we can calculate, n equal to what, molarity into volume, So from this, student, what we can draw here from this one, case 1. So case 1, what we can write, student, when you are talking about case 1, so case 1 is moles of Ki. So student, firstly you write that is moles of Ki. So how many moles of Ki, student? So molarity into volume. Molarity how much, student? 0.1, and volume into student 250 ml. But here volume in liter, student, we are talking about volume in liter. So here is divided by 1000. So it will come 0.250. So how much will come, value will come, student, here it will come 0.025 mole, 0.025 mole. Okay, now student, case 2. When you are talking about, student, case 2, so what we have to calculate, moles of KMNO4. So same formula we will apply, student, and we will calculate, that is moles of KMNO4. This is very simple, student, till now. Moles of KMNO4, so that is molarity into volume in liter. So molarity how much is given, student? 0.02. Volume how many, student? That is, it is given in the ml, so we are converting in liter, so divided by 1000. So how much will come, student? 0.250. So how much will value will come, student? If you multiply, it will, the value will come, student, 0.005 mole. Okay, student. Now student, you see, if you talk about this 0.025, that is Ki mole, and 0.005, that is KMNO4 mole. Now from the reaction we see that, okay, from the reaction, you go from the reaction. If you are going from the reaction, what is 2 mole KMNO4, 2 mole Kmno4 reacts with 6 mole of Ki. Okay, so 2 mole, okay, here is 2 mole reacting with 6 mole of Ki. 2 mole Kmno4 reacts with how many moles, students? 6 mole Ki. 6 mole Ki. So 1 mole Kmno4 reacts, student. 1 mole Kmno4 react 6 upon what, student? 2. Okay. So how much is the Kmno4 here, student? 0.005. Therefore 0.005 mole Kmno4 reacts with, student, how much will come? 6 by 2 multiplied by 0.005. So how much value will come, student? Here if you talk about it, will coming 0.015 mole. 0.015 mole of Ki. Mole of Ki. Okay, this one. Now student, okay, 0.0. Ab you match with how many moles of, if you talk about this one, how much mole of Ki, if you talk about the mole of Ki is how much, student? 0.025. And moles of Kmno4, how much is given, student? How much you are getting? 0.015. So 0.015, this is number of moles. Kmno4, that is 0.015. So it is less mole than the Ki, student. Less mole than Ki. So this will be what, student? This one Kmno4 will be limiting reagent. So this is Km. Therefore here we can write, because it is less, student, less than the Ki. So therefore Kmno4 is, what, student? Limiting reagent. Limiting reagent. Now student, if this is limiting reagent Kmno4, then the second case, what we can do, student? We are talking about, that is 0.025. This is there, 0.025 Ki is reacting, Ki. So what we can do, student, from this one, we are leaving now Kmno4, student, because it is limiting reagent. Now we are going for which one, student? We are taking, that is Ki. Okay, Ki is not limiting reagent. So let us see, student, how can we do? That is the second part. So that is, if you talk about, that is, so 2 mole of Kmno4, Kmno4 gives how many mole of the I2? 3 mole of I2. Okay, so if you talk about 2 mole of Kmno4, okay, gives how much is giving, student? 3 mole I2. So 1 mole Kmno4, 1 mole of Kmno4, how much will give, student? 1 mole, how much? 3 by 2 mole I2. Now student, here is in the limiting reagent, number of mole of how much you got, because the product is depending on the limiting reagent. So 0.015. So therefore what we can write, student? Therefore, okay, 0.015 mole of Kmno4 gives how much will give I2, student? 3 by 2 into 0.015. If you multiply this, student, mole I2, 0.015 mole I2. So how much is coming, student? You can check it out here. If you talk about this, if you are multiplying, so it is coming 0.0075 mole I2, 0.0075 mole I2. And what this is, they are asking, student, in the question. Always you keep in mind, student, the product is depending on the limiting reagent that we used study in the 11th standard. So what is the number of moles of I2 form is, student? 0.0075. What is the option number, student? Option number A is the correct option. I hope you will be able to understand, student. Go 2-3 times and you try to solve it out. Thank you so much for watching, friends.